You are now watching the Movie Juice Podcast.
The juice is loose.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Movie Juice Podcast. I'm Dylan.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm James. Movie Juice. Movie Juice. Movie Juice. Movie Juice. Movie Juice.
Juice the movie.
Oh, yeah!
Oh.
This week we watched For the Scare Slam.
Scare Slam.
Scare Slam.
Jeff, throw in some air horn.
But this is week one of Scare Slam.
Scare Slam.
Scare Fest, Scare Slam. You're banned from the Scare Slam and the Scare Fest, whatever that is.
Why are they banned?
Don't worry about it. It's a wrestling reference.
Okay.
It is. It really happened.
I don't care.
I'll fuck you. Anyway, week 1 of 5. And this week, I don't know if I already said it, we did.
It follows.
It follows.
What follows?
It.
The clown?
Pennywise.
The entity. Yeah, that's what I write in my notes.
Same. Yeah.
Technically an STD.
Sexually transmitted demon.
Would you guys recommend this movie?
Absolutely. I love this fucking movie.
Me too.
Because of you.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have watched it.
Hey,
Like 3 years
to,
ago now, probably?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
To quote Blake Anderson, for sure.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I think it was about 3 years ago after we had seen a movie. I think we went and saw, was that when we went and saw Scott Pilgrim in the theaters?
It was either that or it was one of the nights he came over we watched Fear Street.
Yeah. It was one of those nights. But
Yeah.
I remember we sat and watched it, just me and you, because I think Dylan was,
He was on third shift still.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Grace was like asleep. We watched
I
it.
remember we got there and I asked her if she could go into the bedroom so we could watch it in the living room.
And,
Oh, yeah, because we were supposed to watch all 3 of the Fear Streets together. You watched the
Yeah.
second one without me.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
I'll watch it again with you, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I fucking love this movie. I would, if we went and saw it in the theater, I would highly suggest you go see it in the theater. I think
Don't worry, a lot of people did.
did.
Yeah, I have the research for it.
Hopefully they'll put it in theaters before the sequel comes out next year.
I think the first time I saw it, it was a long time ago. Like, I think my mom was watching it, and I just kind of stumbled into the living room and watched it with her.
I remember it coming out in the theaters, I just never went and saw it.
Same.
You know, I watched it the first time, and I really liked it. And then a few years later, when I was at college, I bought it on Blu-ray, and I rewatched it a few times. And I was like, yeah, dude, this movie's fucking awesome. And, you know, it's one of those, like, I'd show people, like, hey, you need to watch this fucking movie. Yeah, I really like this movie. You guys have anything else to say before we get started?
No, it's a recommend for me.
I recommend it. I'm going to go ahead and hit the histories.
You go ahead.
Not the history, I guess the research.
Box office,
Box office, yeah.
all that jazz.
It Follows is a 2014 American horror film written and directed by David Robert Mitchell. It debuted May 17th, 2014 at the Cannes Film Festival. Released in the United States March 13th, 2015. The budget was $1.3 million and it tallied in a total of $23.3 million at the box office. So a lot of people did go see it. So that's the box office in history. I always thought the movie came out in 2014. I didn't know that it was only released at a film festival in 2014.
Yeah, I also
and then it
always
came out.
thought that it was I always thought that it was 2014 as well.
Yeah. Theatrically, it was 2015.
I remember it was around that time, like right after I graduated.
Yeah.
It definitely came to the theaters before I worked.
Before you worked there?
Before I worked there, yeah, for sure. Sorry, I lost train of thought.
What do you mean?
But so I'm gonna go ahead and get into my notes. The movie starts, and it pretty much fucking starts
Yeah.
because it starts with a girl running out of her house and looking at something.
Well, I put it's a long pan of the street first, and then it's a girl runs out
My
of her
first
house.
note, just because I've already seen it before it even starts, because I know it starts with it, I went ahead and just put great score, because I love this fucking
Dude,
score.
oh my
like it's
God,
like
it's fucking awesome.
fucking techno, like infused. It's just a
Yeah.
good fucking score. Like I have like the main theme on my playlist. That's how good it is.
I know.
Yeah, like the
I know-
strings are really good too.
I know for when we did mid-90s last week, I know I did get the note of who did the score, which was Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. I did not do that for this one.
But like it's
Yeah.
just I just love how memorable this score is.
I think I only took the note for it just because it was Trent Reznor, and I was like,
Yeah.
Trent Reznor.
Are you last down?
I was like, nine inch nails.
Alright, so yeah, but it starts with her running out of her house and looking at something, and people are like,
Are you okay?
"Are you okay?
What's
Are
wrong
you
with you?"
okay?" And
She runs
like
back
keeps,
towards her. She's like, I'm good, whatever.
Yeah.
She likes doing these. She's doing these circles too.
she
Yeah.
has, like,
And
little
then she goes
circles.
back towards her house,
Yeah,
and
she
the dad's
runs-
like, "What is wrong? What's wrong?" She's like, "Nothing,
Yeah.
nothing, Dad."
Nothing's wrong with
She runs
her.
back in the house, grabs the keys,
Gets the car and just backs out the driveway. And
cuts to her on a beach.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
her driving and her phone's ringing, and
Well,
she's like
yeah.
ignoring
is it a beach or is it like a lakefront? I really couldn't tell.
I mean, I think it's
It's just
still a
waterfront,
beach.
yeah.
For
yeah,
sure.
because like there's multiple notes where I call it different bodies of water. I know at
Right.
one point I said the beach, then I call it a lake, then I call it a river because I really don't fucking know what kind
Yeah.
of body
Well,
of
I
water
think-
it is.
I
It's
think
probably not a beach because it's Detroit. Well, I mean, I guess
the Great Lakes.
The rest of the
Yeah,
movie.
it's
I think-
probably a lake.
Yeah, I think they go to like it's like somewhere on the Great Lakes. That's what I'm thinking.
Because
Like
like I don't
Detroit,
think the
that's what I
entity,
think.
from what we know, I don't think the entity got like too much further away from Detroit. That many
Well.
people away, because we don't know how many people this is down the chain. But like,
Yeah.
Can't have
I
shit.
assume it's not that.
Can't have shit in Detroit. Not even sex.
That should be the tagline.
But I wrote, whenever I wrote, before we get to that though, I wrote, she starts running away back to her house. Like something is maybe, I don't know, following her.
Maybe it's following.
Yeah.
Maybe it's following
Yeah,
her.
because like while she's
Movie
driving,
score is fucking sick off the cuff.
yeah, there's also like a phone call that she makes with her dad, and she just apologizes for being
a little shit.
For being a little shit.
Yeah.
Yep. And then she's like, I don't know why I even do that. And then she's like looking off into the distance, like past her car, and you don't see anything. But then it like,
But like it's one of the like in any other movie, it's one of those wide open shots where like you can tell the filmmaker wants you to think there's something there, but there's like there literally is nothing
yeah.
there.
Or if it's like a slasher movie, like you see Michael,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
But like there's
Jason.
nothing, and then it just quickly fucking cuts.
Cuts to her on the beach, and she is fucked up.
Yeah, I put gruesome leg injury.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I wrote and dead.
And then later on, you can kind of tell like what happens because like from what it does to Greg, you're like, oh, like it like fucking like just fucked.
Yeah, dude.
It fucked.
It fucks. It
It,
fucks.
it fucks. That should have been the name of the movie.
It
The sequel should be
fucks.
called They Fuck. But
And then pretty
and
much just cuts to her cleaning out the pool.
yeah, it cuts to a girl in pool.
I didn't write her name down yet, which is like 3 notes down, and then I
Right.
write her name, but like
Yeah.
I didn't know it at first. So
It was a little bit for me before I wrote it down too, because I didn't remember the girl's name.
Yeah.
Her name's Jay.
Yeah, yeah.
Girl is in pool, looking at nature and shit, drinking an off-brand Coke because they couldn't afford the sponsor.
Yep.
Like, that's what I wrote.
Oh yeah, and then I put LOL at ant crawling on her arm, and then she just drowns it.
And then like
She sees the kids in the yard like spying on her.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
spying on her. And then her sister comes out, and she tells her sister that she's going on a date tonight. And she's like, I don't know if she says his name yet. His name's Hugh.
I put Jay as girl's name because her sister says it, and that's when I wrote her name down. And then I put Jay. It pretty much pans after that. Looks at the kids. It pans to her getting ready for her date.
Yeah, because like this is like they like him. Like he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Takes
and
me a
then-
minute to write his name down though.
Yeah, it doesn't say it for a while. And then I wrote immediately, like, because it goes into her going into the living room.
Yep.
And I immediately made, like, a note of this. It's like watching an old movie on a tube TV while one of the girls reads on a clamshell e-reader.
Yar.
This movie, yeah, Yara.
Oh,
I
didn't know they were a thing. I just thought that was a thing for the movie. I didn't
They're
know
not like that.
Oh.
That's not a real thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude, it's weird. Like,
Oh, the fact that you knew the name for it, I just saw it. On
No,
the
Her name is Yar.
the girl's
Oh.
name is Yara.
Oh.
The girl.
Yeah, dude. Whenever I was typing her name in my later notes, my phone kept trying to switch it to Yard. So I have to pause the movie and make
That's
sure.
funny. But yeah, no, those things don't actually exist because like we'll come to find out later. Like this whole movie is supposed to be like kind of out. It's not. You're not supposed to know exactly what time it takes place. And like
I wrote that it, I have a little note for that.
You definitely know it takes place in Detroit.
Yeah.
This movie has no timeline. It is just an amalgamation of timelines pushed together.
Yeah, because like there's like early fall vibes, but then also she's in a pool, so it's kind of summer vibes.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I would assume late summer, maybe.
Yeah.
I wrote it's like the
September.
It's like the late
Yeah.
2000s and early 2010s when like you had a smartphone, but like you still probably had like a tube TV in your bedroom.
Yeah.
you
You
know,
know
in
what
your
I mean?
bedroom, you still had to use your iPod for your music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like you probably still they had like a shitty smartphone, like
Yeah.
a shitty Android or something.
Yeah.
Because it's like so. I think that's what they're shooting
Droid.
for, kind of.
The LG Optimus is what I had.
I had the Samsung Fascinate. That was my first one.
My first one wasn't until my senior year of high school.
Fair enough.
You had that shitty Android. I remember that.
Yeah, I wanted the cool droids, the one that whenever you text people, it went droid.
Yeah.
That is cool.
But like I assume, and obviously this is just like a guess because they don't tell you.
Yeah.
But I would say it's probably like it probably takes place in like I would guess like 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah,
2010.
Cause you said amalgamation of like different time zones. I was gonna say, buddy, that's just Detroit.
I put a great fart gag because Yar's like, wait, I think I have an idea, and she goes,
Yeah.
Yeah, I hey, I have an idea. Farts. And then I write Paul likes Jay because you can immediately
Paul's a
tell.
little bitch.
Fuck Paul.
I-
I'll
Yeah,
get
for
into
real.
that later.
You know how like
Yeah,
that one time you were like this part, or I think he was like this part 1, this part 2. I was like, I have multiple Pauls of bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's a little fucker.
Really fucking.
I think I call it little. I was like, Paul, a little fucker.
Yeah.
But then
Paul,
it's just-
Paul was my least favorite character.
Yeah.
Of the whole
Oh,
movie.
me too. He's
Which is weird because he's in a different movie. I like really like him in, but like,
Yeah,
in this movie he's
it's
a
weird.
little fuck.
It's weird because Greg's a piece of shit in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't really like Greg either.
Yeah, I don't either.
but Paul's worse. Somehow.
Paul is worse.
I think Greg's cool from a certain point of
Yeah.
view, but like he is a dick.
we'll get there.
Because whenever it pans to her in Hugh is his name, but I wrote her date looks like if Rob Gronkowski didn't play football.
Yeah.
I kind of see that. Yeah, that's funny.
And like they go to the movies and then they play the trade,
The trade game. I
Yeah.
fucking love the trade game.
And I wrote down like
It's,
what she says. It's like pick a person you want to trade places with in the crowd of random people. You have 2 guesses to pick who you trade with and why. And then he looks around and he like picks somebody.
Yeah, I wrote Mini Gronk chooses a kid because he's got his whole life ahead of him and says he can go to the bathroom anytime he wants. And Jay's like, that kid's probably shitting his pants right now.
Yeah, shit his
He's
pants right
like,
now.
yeah, we can't do that.
Which like I like this scene because like
Yeah, because I put in my notes. He picks a little kid because he's got his whole life ahead of him, and I
Yeah.
put me too, brother, me too.
I like this scene of them talking because like it does show because I mean you don't know what he's gonna do to her, but it
No.
shows that like at the same time like he's still like just like a dude. He's probably like not a bad dude, you know. Like that's what I think, and I think they have like really good playful banter.
It's almost like mid '90s where like like he's also just a kid too. Like they're about the same age. Like
He's like a little bit older than her. but
yeah,
not
he's like
much.
he's like the same kind of age where he's just like he doesn't know everything either. He's not like cause like if she's a little younger, they know each other. It just shows how close they are to each other. I don't know. That doesn't make
No, I
sense.
see what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I could have worded it better, but
they're sitting in the theater now, like waiting for the movie.
Yeah.
And this fucking movie theater has a piano player.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
wondering
that
what
was
like
weird.
was it like is this like that's another thing with the fucking setting where it's like is it a theater? Is this like a production?
Yeah,
What
like
is
are they
it?
going to a play?
Are they
Yeah.
acting out in the movie in front of me?
Yeah, like I didn't really understand that either, but I definitely comment on it. But I just think it's just like a stylistic choice again, just to kind of
Yeah.
like jumble up how it is.
Yep.
And then
Probably an excuse to not have the lights low. Like it's not an actual movie theater. Probably
Yeah.
a good excuse to have the lights on.
and then he like looks around for her pick,
Yep.
and he goes
That little girl in the yellow
the
dress.
girl in the yellow dress, and she's like.
I don't see it.
What girl in the yellow
Yeah.
dress?
And he's like, she's right there. And he's like,
And
you
she's
really
like-
don't see her? She's
and
like,
then
no.
And then he instantly flips. He's like, oh, let's get out of here.
yeah,
Yeah,
bro
yeah.
panics and makes her leave after
Yeah.
she doesn't see the girl in the yellow dress.
Yeah,
And my next note just says, red flag, girl. Red
Yeah.
flag.
I put Mini Gronk gets hella nervous and asks if they can leave.
And then when she's outside, she's like, what happened? What's wrong? Oh my god! Like, did I do something? Well, I don't know if she says that, but it's like that kind of vibe. And
Yeah,
he says, no,
yeah.
I just feel better being outside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
was
I
getting sick.
put they leave. Jay's confused and asks if he saw an ex-girlfriend or something, and
Yeah.
he just says, "I feel sick and I feel better outside."
and
and
they
then
go to a diner.
I wrote,
Yeah.
why would he take her to a movie knowing that he'd be sitting somewhere for that long stationary with that thing coming after him?
Exactly, yeah.
You know, like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah.
I mean, movie theaters do have more than one exit, though.
True. But like if he was smart, he would have
Right.
like drove far away, waited to see it, and then came back. They go to a diner where they're just talking about like what were they talking? I can't remember what they're talking about.
You see someone walking.
Yeah,
that's
you see
the big
something
part of the
close in
scene
the
is
window.
that. But like I just
Yeah.
didn't know if what they were talking about had any importance that I could think of. But yeah, no, like that's just another thing to show that like it's coming after him again.
At this point, you don't know.
Right, yeah, but like
You just
on a
see someone
on a
walking.
rewatch for us, where it's
Well,
always cool to see.
Even in my first note, I noticed that motherfucker walking
Yeah,
in
it
the
was
window,
like a
and I was
fight.
like, "What the fuck?"
And then once you know what it is, like there's
Yeah,
multiple
yeah.
other shots in the movie where like that's fucking
Well,
cool.
yeah, because like you're looking for it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a few parts where I mention it later too, where
Yeah.
you can like see it.
Yeah, then it kind of just pans to the next day, and
She's talking to her sister.
Yeah, Jay and Kelly. I wrote her name down.
Because I
Kelly
put
walked down the
in
street.
my notes not the best home life because they're talking about their mom and how like
Yeah.
she would never notice me smoking cigarettes anyway because she's not observant and not really there a lot.
And then this is when I wrote down Hugh's name. I put Mini Gronk's name is Hugh, LOL. And that's when Kelly asks Jay if her and Hugh have smashed yet. And she says no and doesn't want to, but something changed last night.
Yeah, she talks about how he's acting weird.
Yeah.
And then they walk by the dude. I just wrote dude for now because like they haven't introduced
Yeah.
him as Greg yet.
Yeah.
But
I
they
wrote-
show him like washing his car and he checks them out.
And because my note says Kelly sees neighbor washing his car, and dude can never wash the dirt and rust off that car.
Yeah, no.
That's permanently on there, buddy.
And then they get back and they're all hanging out in the house again.
Yeah.
And I put in my notes, I had many friends like this where we would always, they were always the hangout spot. Where like we would just always, like everyone, we were all friends and like people would just kind of show up and we would just hang out inside, outside, all throughout the house, just kind of chilling. Just just kind of like not even like hanging out, just like being in the same place together because there was nothing else to do.
Yeah, man. I mean, just
Like it's very it's very nostalgic for me in that way. This whole movie,
just chilling, bro.
it's like the whole movie they're like going on little like adventures and shit.
just
And
chilling out.
I did with shit like that all the time with my friends,
Just chilling out, maxing, relaxing.
relaxing, all cool.
And then her and Hugh go out again.
Yeah.
And they go to like this is like a little river they go to.
Yeah.
'Cause they end up sitting by some water and they start
Yeah.
kissing.
And sexy time
And then they fuck in the car.
Yeah.
Hugh gets some stanky
on
his hang down.
Yeah, they go.
And she has a really cool line too afterwards of like when we were kids we would just go places and we didn't really know why, or we would dream of doing things as grown-ups, and she says it was just some sort of freedom, I guess.
That line plays on the Paramount Plus trailer thing. That line plays.
I
Really?
wrote fucking car next to what looks like an abandoned hospital. Bro casually strolls to trunk after
Well,
banging.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
Even before you know what's happening, you're like, well, where's he going?
Yep.
I put Jay gives Minnie Gronk a passionate forehead kiss. Hugh gets out of the car while Jay talks about her childhood daydreams. Minnie Gronk chloroforms Jay.
Girl's monologue about freedom is interrupted with a chloroform rag.
Yeah.
And also, I like that pan to the, because she's like fucking with a little Daisy too.
Yeah.
And she's talking, because what she's talking about is basically almost like, you know, the innocence of being a kid and wanting to grow
Yeah,
up.
because like she was
And
laying
then
on-
like she literally right after having sex gets fucking chloroformed while she's looking
Yeah.
while she's looking at a flower, and I was like, fuck, this is like really like symbolic.
Yeah, because like she's like laying in the car on her stomach playing with a thing with her like feet up and that, you know, feet
Right.
are like an X, you know, like the fucking
Yeah, like the crossy legs,
Yeah.
like
yeah, like your stereotypical white girl.
yeah.
Yeah,
photo.
kicking her feet.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah,
And
we've
then like
been-
I think that the flower is also supposed to be like a metaphor for like her being deflowered.
yeah,
Because like between that and the entity, it's like she's
Yeah.
being deflowered, so now she's going to be followed by
Yeah.
this entity.
yeah, because like
Well,
whenever
you
he
found
pulled,
out that she was deflowered before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
whenever he pulled out that chloroform, my first thought was like, aren't you supposed to do that before?
That's a good point.
I was
Like, wait, buddy, you already had the sex. You're doing this all wrong.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
I was
true.
like,
Bro,
But after
the hang down has already been stanky.
but after he chloroforms her, he takes her to an empty parking garage.
I think it's like right next to it too.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's like part of like that abandoned
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
the fuck.
I think he had like purposely
yeah, and
planned
he strapped her
the
to a
spot.
wheelchair.
And then I wrote, I guess this is next to the building they were in. Casually walks out from behind her while she's tied to a wheelchair.
I mean, to be fair, it is Detroit. 90% of it's abandoned.
Yeah, and he starts talking randomly. But we find out these are the rules. He said it always walks, it never runs, and it never stops, and it always walks in a straight line. And it could be someone you know or a stranger, and can look like anyone. And he says you need to pass it on by having sex with someone. And then my next note just puts, I love how him helping her by like giving her the rules is really only like it sets him up as kind of an asshole because he's only really helping himself because he wants her to get rid of it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So there's more people in front of him for the change.
yeah, for sure.
So like it's weird how like he's like, I'm giving you a chance, but I'm like, you're really not. You're just trying to protect yourself.
Yeah.
I on this rewatch in particular, I never thought about it till now. I'm like, that's very interesting that like he's really not doing it to help her. He's just doing it to help
Yeah,
himself.
because later on in the movie, he does say like, I gave it to her because I thought it'd be easier for her to pass it on to somebody else.
Because I have a note about that too. Because it's very stigmatic.
Yeah.
he says, I'm not going to
oh.
hurt you even though I just tied you up and this looks very, very sketchy. That's what I wrote.
Because my thing was like Hugh tells her that someone is going to follow her and pass it on to her, and I was like, sounds like pretty much an STD. That was my,
It's like,
Yeah, I wrote,
Except when you give it to someone else, it doesn't go away from you either.
someone you know or stranger, whatever helps to get close to
Well,
you. And then I
that's
wrote,
kind of how STDs work too.
That's
worst
true. Oh yeah, but like
STD
you don't.
ever.
It doesn't. You don't give it away. You know, it still sticks with you. The STD.
Yeah.
I mean, so does the demon, I guess, technically.
Yeah.
and then he also says it looks like people, he thinks that it looks like people you love just to hurt you.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And then it's like,
I just think it uses whatever it can at best because, like, you know, when it does Yara later, or like there's certain people it does, like especially when it's like Greg that one time too. Like when it's certain people, I think it just also does whatever it can to get close to you.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Like, you know, at the end we'll talk about the last person it is.
Yeah.
Where like
Yeah.
it definitely does that's definitely where I think it's like the hurting people.
Yeah,
part.
it's just trying to get into her head.
Yeah.
And then,
Because like, he pushed her to the end of the lot.
well, because he sees the, he
Yeah,
sees
he's
her.
as he's saying all his rules, he's like looking out. He's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah,
I
he's
see
like,
it.
oh, I see it.
And then he grabs Jade, wheels it over to her. He's like, I need you to know this isn't fake. This is real. And then that's when
Yeah.
that's when she starts getting freaked out more about the entity. teeth, and him. He's like, "Who is that?"
Hang on. Naked lady walking across railroad tracks. Boobs. Nice.
I also put boobs nice. even though they're like demonic boobs.
I mean, they're still boobs.
Yeah.
Boob.
This is the full rack we get. We see 4 boobs in this movie. There's a full rack and then 2 half racks. Like, just a heads up for all our boob counters out there.
And then another rule, he also says it's slow,
Okay,
but it's
bro.
not dumb.
We gotta start watching movies. You gotta start keeping count because we're gonna start a James McDowell boob count.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, I always keep track. We don't see a lot of boobs. We don't watch a lot of booby movies.
Well, because like there's another James out there. He does a kill count. We got James. We got our own James. He does a boob count.
we got 4.
I like it.
There was another movie we watched that had boobs, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure there has been.
Yeah, I have to go back through and look.
I normally keep up with the boobs. Anyway, that's like my one thing, okay?
We can tally what we already have off mics.
Yeah.
But he says it's slow, but it's not dumb.
Yeah, and he also tells her never go into a place with more than one exit, without
Yeah.
more than one exit.
Which she breaks that rule constantly. But
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, well.
Well, I mean, at first, like, you're going to.
Yeah.
I mean, really. And then, that's pretty much the end of that scene, because then it cuts to them sitting on the porch.
Yeah,
Her
they're like
friends.
playing cards.
Paul,
and-
Kelly, and Yara, they're like
Yeah.
playing cards, and
Yeah.
she's like her stupid fucking e-reader that she's on the whole time.
Yeah.
Kind of cool looking though.
It is
too.
cool. Like
It is cool.
I don't think it's like
Definitely not practical.
when I'm reading the manga, I switched to only reading on my iPad because it's bigger. But on my phone, I find it's hard to read. So I can only imagine like on that e-reader, it's like even smaller. Trying to read a whole fucking
you
book.
couldn't read
I'm
it.
like, bro, there's no way I could read that on that thing.
You could only read fucking books on that thing. There's
Yeah.
no way you're reading anything with like pictures. And
No, I'm
like,
just saying in
graphic
general. Like,
novels.
but just with,
Yeah.
I was just using it as a reference of like, even on my phone, I can't do it because that's small. Let
Oh,
alone
God.
the little e-reader reading a
Yeah.
whole fucking like novel.
Yeah, you
Also,
all-
I just wanted to mention that they have another off-brand Coke.
I thought I wrote the name of it.
Off-brand Coke.
It's just
counter.
Coke. It literally just says Coke. And I just kept writing, haha. And then they're talking about Jay, too, and how she, like, kind of sounds like she kind of gets around a little bit.
Yeah.
It was like, it's fine. I just wrote, I think Jay's a bit of a loose woman, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, whatever, dude. Live your life, but.
And then you're either tight butthole or you loose butthole.
Yeah.
True.
And then he dude just kind of like casually
Rolls up and he's like, he rolls up fast. And they're like, "Is everything okay?"
He just
he
fucking
just
throws her on the
dumps her
ground.
into the fucking road. Dude drops her off on the road and fucking dips.
Yeah,
Like,
because he says something when he drives off. Can't remember what it was, but it's like another rule or something of like I don't know.
I can't remember exactly what he says.
Yeah, because
either.
like, well, she stands up and walks a little bit, then she just immediately passes out. In the
I think he
grass.
just says pass it on. Like
Pass
he
it
has to pass it on as
on,
quick
yeah.
as you can.
And then like, the cops are called, and then the dude that was washing his car is watching from across the street.
Yeah, and then his mom says something kind of shitty.
Yeah, and then she's like
But-
something about the crazy neighbors. or
I
something.
don't
Yeah.
think that's his mom. I think that was just like some girl that he was trying to bang.
Oh,
Because
I thought
there's
it
a
was
scene.
mom.
I think there's a scene earlier on, or maybe it's later when he's. I think it might be later when he's like trying to get fuck this other girl in his car.
Oh
like,
yeah, that's a little bit later.
Yeah, like, but like I think this is a different girl. Like I think he's just showing that he gets around too. I think it's like a girlfriend or something.
But
Because he tells her, oh, there's always something with them. Like they're like problematic or something. He says, I can't remember the word he
Yeah.
says, but he's like they're always doing something.
because then it pans to the cops taking down notes and shit. Then it just kind of takes her to the hospital.
Yeah, like-
because they asked her, so it was consensual.
Yeah, it was
and she
consensual.
said yes.
And then they
it's
asked
such
if-
a weird, like it's hard to explain. Like, yeah, we did have sex, but like it was after that he was
God,
weird. Like
super weird.
It's such a weird. It would be such a weird thing to explain. Like, yeah, he chloroformed me after we had sex consensually.
Yeah, I
It's-
bet the cop was just like, "What?"
I think the cop would probably be like, "Oh, you're getting your story all mixed up." Or I don't
Yeah,
know.
the cop
The
probably
cop would
been-
definitely not take it seriously.
The
which-
cop would have been like, "Hey, that seems out of order."
she
Yeah.
also mentions that she's never been to his house.
Yeah, she said
Yeah.
he said he was always nervous to go there because of like where it was at.
And
He
then,
said, "I know where it's at, but I've never been."
They do
Yeah.
they do a hospital scene where she's in the hospital, and
Yeah,
then
they check out the abandoned parking
cops
lot.
are shown
Yeah.
inspecting where they fucked. The wheelchair's there, and so is her purse.
Yeah.
And then this is when they talk about how, like, they're talking about Hugh, and they say that he used a fake name to rent a house in the city. And then I wrote how much time has passed, because it doesn't tell you. And I guess it doesn't really matter, but still, because that is something that I am like a stickler for. Because like, you know, is it the next day? Is it just a day later? Is it a week later? How long was she in the
At the
hospital?
hospital?
Because I,
Yeah, you
Probably,
know.
probably like maybe overnight. I would think.
yeah, I would assume
Or
overnight.
something like that, where like
'Cause-
she doesn't really have any like injuries per se.
Because it pans to her, like, in her bathroom. I put, Jay is checking her vag out in the bathroom mirror, and a ball hits the window, freaks her out, and it pans to the outside, and it's just the neighbors trying to catch a peek.
Yeah.
I put kids through ball while she's checking her no square.
I wrote, I wrote staring down her window, staring down her underwear in bathroom, ball hits window. Then she drinks water from the sink, and then you
Yeah.
find out that there's like a little boy that's just like looking at her. LOL.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my initial thought was, I was like, that's a weird way to drink water, and I was like, no, I've done that when I was a kid.
Yeah, but she's like 19. Like,
Yeah.
And then this is the classroom scene, which is one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Same.
I put pans in
Because
school.
her teacher's reading. I'm sure there's some sort of meaning that like people have deep dived when they do, but like she's just reading some sort of like lecture or something.
I wrote final girl looking out the window cliche because
Yeah.
it definitely is kind of that.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that would have made it more cliche is if she got asked a question and answered it correctly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because that happens so much in these movies. But then she sees an old lady in a hospital gown
Yeah, walking towards
walking
it.
towards her.
and
and she's like,
across the quad.
she's like, what the fuck?
Dude, that would freak me out, too. I'm
But like the closer it gets, she packs up her shits
Dude,
and leaves.
I wrote, score
thing-
kicks in again and fuck is it
Also,
good.
Greg kind of looks back at her too.
Yeah, because he like notices that she like...
Yeah, he's like kind of side eyeing her, like,
Dude,
oh, what's she
I will
doing?
say, in horror movies, the thing that they always go for the most is old people and kids.
Yeah.
And then I like this part too because it's where she's outside of the classroom and she's walking, and the old lady walks right through the two girls having a
That
conversation.
was crazy. Like they don't bat an eye.
To show they can't see her, and then girl says hello, and the
Well,
girls reply
'cause-
to her, still not acknowledging the creepy old woman right
Literally
at-
right in front
Because
of them,
Jay
yeah.
also walked straight through them.
I think she walked around.
I think she walks around.
No, she walked straight through them because the one girl was like, "Excuse me," while they're having a conversation, and then because like the old lady also walked straight the same way that she's walking. So
Yeah,
she-
I don't remember her walking through them, but I mean, maybe I don't know. But like either way, like the old lady, I like that it shows that the old lady like
Because
if she did, that means they acknowledged her, but not the old
Yeah,
lady.
because I definitely
It
thought
still,
it
it
was.
still proves the same
Yeah,
point.
because I
though.
definitely thought it was weird that she
It
didn't
does.
go around them because there was way more room to go around
Fair
than there was to go through. And I was
Probably
like,
because she was freaking out.
yeah, I was like, why the fuck did you go through them?
But that's perfect. That perfectly does show that like they can't see the old lady, but they saw her.
And then does Jay say enough school for the day, or do I just make that up in my notes?
No, I think she leaves because she kind of.
She just dips.
I put drives around town, goes to an ice cream shop.
Yeah, goes to see her
that's
friends.
That's where
Yeah.
her sister and Paul work.
Goes
Yeah.
to see her friends at the ice cream shop. They work
But
to tell them about the old lady.
my note says nothing like a good bowl of ice cream to stop the horror movie monsters.
Yeah.
The way she's swirling it is very artistic. I like she was doing it like
yeah,
in
She's
a
gonna make
cool
soup.
pattern, and I was like, that's cool.
And then this is where she like exposition dumps a little bit about what Hugh told her.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
Like
something's
someone's gonna follow me,
her.
and she's like, and they're all like, "That's fucking bullshit, man! Like he's
Paul.
just fucking with you."
Paul's like, well, I can stay over
I
and
can stay at the house to try and help keep an eye out for anything
And this
weird.
is where I put, and then they both put no. They both say no in like unison.
Yeah.
And that's my first Paul, little fucker.
I put Paul's down bad.
I wrote,
oh yeah, definitely.
I wrote that about seeing anything weird, and then I said, but bro can't see it. But I guess they don't realize that yet. Also, LOL, Paul might be humping her leg because they make a joke about
Yeah.
him like humping her leg.
Oh,
in the middle
yeah.
of the night.
Yeah, I was like, Paul's gonna sleep on the couch tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's him sitting there.
Before
on the
that,
couch.
we cut to like a shot of like you can tell it's a shot of the mom's bedroom, and there's a wine glass, and like she's passed out in the bed
Yeah.
to kind of show that the mom's like
A drunk and an absent mother.
yeah.
At least an absent mother.
But like you see the wine glass in the back, kind of hinting that that's what's keeping her sedated.
Just felt the need to comment that there's a 2 TV setup in the living room.
Yeah.
But for some reason, bro's watching the little TV.
To be
Yeah.
fair, that reminds me of the friend's house. The friend I'm thinking of when I say like the friend's house we would always hang out at. They also had like 2 living rooms where like someone was hanging in this room, someone was hanging in that other room.
My grandparents had 2 living rooms.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
I remember that.
They also had 2 bedrooms because they couldn't sleep with each other.
Huh.
Because my grandma would snore so fucking loud that
Uh.
my grandpa couldn't sleep, so he just got his own bedroom.
A lot of older people have their own bedrooms. Like,
Some of them have, I mean, some of them have separate beds, because like the like different generational morals, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But I've never really heard of like different bedrooms.
My great aunt and great uncle, they had separate bedrooms.
Yeah, like my grandpa, he was in bed by 9 p.m. My grandma, she was like
Night owl?
Yeah, she'd stroll in about like midnight, 1 a.m. sometimes.
Is that where you get it?
Probably. So my dad's also a night owl,
Yeah.
but it's my mom's mom that was a night owl, so I probably got it from both ways.
Yeah.
But and then it also like cuts to like the girls and they're talking, and I just wrote, this bitch can't put her e-reader down to save her fucking life.
Yeah.
Nope.
'Cause the
Hey
whole
man,
movie.
to be fair, at that age with Dostoevsky, I probably wouldn't either.
Fair enough. And then Jay can't sleep, so she comes downstairs to sit with Paul. And then I wrote egregious feet shot. 'Cause
Yeah.
it really zooms on her feet. It's
Yep.
like, damn, did Tarantino write this?
Because like they
I
both
thought I had the same
they both have
thought.
like their legs kind of like crossed over each other's.
Yeah.
And then this is where she talks about how Paul kissed Jay because he's like, oh, you know, you're my first kiss, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you find out that Paul kissed Jay and then immediately kissed her sister.
Yeah, I put
And then
Paul
that's when I
was-
put Paul Little Fucker Part 2.
Paul wants him some Jay, and he hasn't spent the night there since there was a kid. Apparently, there's a reason for that. And then they find out about the kid. And I said, but the son of a bitch kissed Kelly. Bro's a player. And then I wrote, shooter's gonna shoot. Like,
Yeah.
hey man, I've been saying that.
And then
shot.
like they talk about how they found and read some porno mags and Greg's. I couldn't remember if it was the front or back lawn they said. But
I think they said on his front yard.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
just had it
yeah.
spread out. They didn't
I
know what
wrote
they were
front
doing.
because I couldn't remember it. I was like, well, yeah, I was like, if I'm wrong, the two that
And then,
seen
like,
this.
and then mom found it and like was fucking
Which
pissed.
that is a
Yeah.
nice scene because it's them reminiscing on the innocence of childhood, which I do feel like
Yeah.
innocence and sex and all
Very
that is like
constant.
very much running themes of this movie.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's what
You know, I mean, this is basically just a PSA not to have sex, honestly.
Yeah, and then something breaks the kitchen window.
Yeah, I put glass shatters. Bum, bum,
And then
bum,
of course,
bum, bum, bum.
fucking Jay says, Paul, go check it out.
yeah, glass shattered, but it's not Steve Austin.
Yeah, and then Paul's like, "There's a broken window in the kitchen, but nobody's there." Paul, and then he like runs up the stairs. And it's
Because
like,
she says call the cops, and Paul says I'm gonna go wake your sister. It's gonna be better if she does it because I guess she lives there. It's probably better if she calls.
Paul's kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
Paul's kind of a bitch for sure. And then
Hashtag fuck Paul.
it's like, and it's just like, I mean, I guess at this point they don't know that they can't see it, but it's like, damn, man, like you're so useless, you don't even know how useless you are.
Yeah.
And then
hashtag fuck Paul and also hashtag fuck Jimmy Kimmel.
and then Jay goes to check kitchen.
Fuck yeah.
Jay goes towards the kitchen, and then I wrote, "Oh God, the score is coming back." And then I wrote, "Boob again," but the lady is pissing herself. Run, Jay, run!
I put pee on the floor.
I put Jay slow motion walks to the window. There's a girl with one titty out and pissing and walking towards her.
And it's like a really slow motion scream, which is what I found kind of
And
interesting.
I put low key. That would also scare the shit out of me too, Jay.
But I'm gonna just say this is 3 boobs now.
And this is
1 full rack, 1 half rack.
this is where I just kind of think like
A left boob.
where I think the entity is taking. It's where I kind of had a theory in this one where like not only does it take the forms of people to get close to you, but also I think sometimes it takes the forms of its victims because like she looks like not judging or anything, but she looks like someone who maybe has had a lot of coitus. So like maybe
Coitus. What the fuck are we? Big
To
Bang
me,
Theory?
honestly, she looks like a fucking sexual assault victim. With
Yeah.
like the peeing herself and like the one boob out, the way it's like
Yeah.
roughly pulled out. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
That's what I always think.
yeah,
But
but
I
that's what I'm
always-
thinking of. Like regardless, it's like it just made me thinking like maybe it's taking the form of its victims too, of like
Yeah.
people it can emulate.
But then she runs upstairs
Yeah.
and she locks herself in her room.
Yeah. Because my note was, don't open that door, Jay. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Yeah, and then their friends start knocking on the door,
Yeah.
and she lets them in, and she starts
Yeah.
freaking out. Oh, I need water! I need water! Oh, but I'm not gonna go anywhere. Don't open the door! Oh my god! It's like, bitch, dude, don't you have like a bathroom? Hey, you're drinking from the fucking fountain earlier. Why are you so thirsty?
Yeah.
Yeah. I put, okay, it wasn't a trap. False alarm. And then she's like, is something wrong with me? And I put, yes, you have a Skinwalker STD, bro.
And then the Yara knocks on the door,
She's
Yeah.
they're like, oh, who is it? It's like it's Yara.
and then
Yeah, because he knocks on the door. Paul grabs a broom. And I was like, what the fuck is that going to do, Paul?
I'm gonna get him with a broom.
they open the door for Yara, and then I wrote, "Holy fucking big tall man!"
I put favorite scare because it's like my favorite scare
Yeah.
movie. It's Tall Man.
Yeah.
And then Jay just goes and runs and jumps out the fucking window and gets on the bike while her friends follow and yell after her.
And this
Yeah.
is where that one scene in Greg is because I put in my notes Greg about to get some stanky on his hang down.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
put Yara's at the door, creepy tall man. Jay books it on a bike to a park, and I put because a park is always a safe bet in horror movies. I put sarcasm, just so I would know that I was joking when I said
Right.
that.
Yeah.
After I wrote they yell after her, I just said she goes swing.
She can go swing. Yeah, she rides on her bike to the park and
Nice
swing.
way to clear your head, big dog. Not gonna lie.
And she's in a good place where like you can scope out vantage points just in
Yeah.
case.
And then I put nice
Except for behind
cinematic.
her.
Huh?
Well, I guess it wouldn't be coming from.
Well, but
behind
yeah,
her,
but she would. I think she would know to
Yeah.
check her six.
though. Probably
Yeah,
check her 6. Fuck yeah, dude.
that's why you get that's why you get the bike with the mirrors on it.
That's
Yeah,
why you
you al-
spin around.
But you
on
also
swing.
but you also live in Detroit, so you know that's probably gets
To
stolen.
be fair, in Cuckoo, she didn't think to have mirrors on her bike.
Yeah, well,
Otherwise, she probably would have thought it was
I don't
behind
think
her.
she was from
But-
Detroit.
But while she's sitting on the swings, she sees people in the distance.
yeah, I
but it's
put-
just her friends.
I put nice cinematic shots of the park at night.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean the whole movie has.
Kind of
good
reminded me,
shots.
even though it's not a great movie, it reminded me of Halloween Kills.
Oh yeah,
When they're in the park.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
There's something aesthetic about a nighttime
Yeah.
park.
That's where my sarcasm joke came from.
Nice.
That's what I
Yeah,
remember.
the killer didn't work
Yeah,
out.
because he killed everybody in that fucking
You even
park.
killed those kids, yeah.
Yeah, because that one tried to like. I remember that. I know. This is a weird tangent, but like I remember the girl tries to shoot him. He just fucking breaks her arm and points it
Yeah.
back to her.
But yeah, it's just her friends. And then Greg is like right behind them.
Yeah.
Because fucking Jay's like, do you see that? Who is that? He's like, and then her sister's like, yeah, no, I see it.
Greg.
We're good. It's just Greg.
He,
Which is like funny because like he totally just left that fucking girl. He's like, oh, so I guess he's not gonna get some stanky.
Yeah, I put.
Because I guess he's just because like we do find out he's kind of an asshole. So like I guess he just like said fuck you, go home.
Yeah, I
I'm gonna go
put.
try my luck with Jay, I guess.
But Greg shows up and he offers like they can use his car.
He's like, well, someone's got to drive.
And
Yeah,
the only way that they can really like, she's like, well, we gotta.
We need to find him. And he's like, who? He's like, you gotta find you.
I put Greg loads up the STD clan, and they're going to look for Hugh.
I put off to Hugh's house.
When they're driving, I wrote, I bet they filmed this in Detroit with all this dilapidated scenery. 'Cause at
Yeah.
the time I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
This I don't remember what specifically, but I really like the cinematic shots of the town and houses in this movie.
Same.
Plus 1 D-Nell point to my final rating.
Hell
And
yeah.
I wrote, I love how every background person in this movie could be the entity that is following her.
That is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. We get that a little more when they get to the school.
Yeah, and they go to an abandoned house. Can't tell if it's the same one from the beginning of the movie or not.
Yeah, it's just they go to this dude's home and it is
Yeah.
abandoned. He was basically squatting while trying to find someone to pass it on to.
Because it kind of
Yeah.
looked like the house from the beginning of the movie. I just couldn't really tell.
That would be interesting if like that was like forever ago. Or
Yeah.
not forever ago, but like long ago, to where like those houses are dilapidated now.
Yeah.
That would be kind of interesting.
Because they had like the same structure.
That's fair. Yeah.
Oh,
they were
the
very
front
close
door
together,
looked the
too.
same kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
But
be
you know,
interesting.
I thought it was cool how like he had the cans set up everywhere so he could hear
Yep.
like if something broke in.
And then I put Greg is perving on Yara while she's like looking at the cabinets. And
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah, he
like
was.
just setting up that Greg is a fucking asshole.
he's just a fuck
Yeah.
boy.
And I
Yeah,
put Kelly and Jay break a wall and scare each other.
Yeah.
that was funny.
And then dude had nudie mags and tissues next to his twin size mattress with no sheets on it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I put
Bro, did you not
Paul.
get cold, dude? When you're at your friend's house and they don't give you a blanket?
Yeah, he gets under the mattress.
I put Paul finds porno mags in this abandoned house. I put porno boobs. Nice.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't write down the porno boobs.
Okay.
Okay. So we're talking about real boobs we see, not picture boobs.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Picture
But,
boobs in a movie don't count. 'Cause
yeah.
that's double, not real boobs.
Yeah,
'Cause
hey.
the only real boobs are the boobs you see in person. Those are the only boobs that count.
And then
I
he finds a pic of you in the nudie mag, and he says, "Oh, who's this?" And then she recognizes the jacket.
The letter jacket that
Yeah.
the girl has on. They find a picture of
Yeah.
him and a girl with a letter jacket on, so they figure out where he went to high school, and then
Yeah.
they go to his school.
Yeah, because I put Paul finds a picture of Hugh / Mini Gronk in porno mag. And I was like, somebody's gonna know his real name. I put, guess it's not Hugh.
I wrote in my notes because right here when we get to the school, we have a really nice panorama shot of
Yeah,
like
I wrote nice
it's-
camera pans of the
it's
school.
like really fucking cool.
I put random people walking in background alone.
Yep.
Is it the entity?
I'm
Shit,
pretty sure.
maybe.
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
At least like one of them. And then they find out that Hugh's name is Jeff Redmond.
Yep.
Cause like, oh yeah, and then in my notes I put his name Jeff.
Because I put the crew goes to Jeff's house.
Well, I also
after they found out his name is
I
Jeff
put a
Redmond.
note that like whenever they're sitting in the car before they go to his house, like Greg is being the comforting one that Paul should have been.
Yeah, because in my notes I put Paul mad, Greg getting friendly with Jay.
Yeah, and then I put Paul Zangi. They go to Jeff's house. The house he lives in looks
Yeah.
very.
Well, also
80s.
there's that one shot while they're sitting in the car where you can see the entity coming towards the car.
And I put the crew goes to Jeff's house. Jeff's mom lets everybody in.
I wrote exposition dump in the circle outside.
I put group therapy session with Coolidge Cola. That was the name of the cola.
I put I wanted to talk about like how he says it's easy for you see pass on. It's easy for you because you're a girl.
Yep.
And I was like I put it's easy to sleep with anyone. You're a girl stigma because like it's like really fucking bullshit how he's like I gave it to you. You're a girl. Just pass it on. It's not a big deal. And like it's really like a gender stereotype thing of like I thought that was it just showed more of like even though he's naive he's still like not a great guy.
But is he wrong though?
I think it's a weird thing it's just a weird viewpoint to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like no,
I
I get it, but like it's just I don't know.
Because I also wrote, Jeff tells them that Jay needs to smash and pass somebody or it's going to kill her and then him and then everybody who passed
It's
it.
funny how instead of smash or pass, it's smash and pass.
Yeah.
And I also
Well, that's all
made
that's
sure to
unusual.
write that Jeff brings up that he met a girl at a bar and that's how he got it.
He thinks that's how he got it. He doesn't know for sure. It's like
Yeah.
he might even be sleeping with more people. We don't know.
And then there's like the girl walking
Yeah,
behind.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he goes,
Did
"Did you guys see the girl right there?" And they're like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Because right before that, Greg is saying, "I think you're full of shit. I don't believe you at all.
Yeah.
I think you're fucking with Jay." And he's like, "Do you see that girl?"
Everyone's like, yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I just wrote LL. Do you guys see that girl right there?
And then it's a sleepy time car ride. That's what I wrote.
Because he says it would kill you down the line. Like it doesn't even if you pass it on, whoever it kills next, it'll just keep going back down the line until it gets back to me. He says I can still see it even though it's following you.
And then also tells him to drive far away enough because it'll keep walking. Buy yourself some time. You know, drive far enough away so you can get yourself some time while it's still going to chase you, but you can decide like what you're going to do.
Right.
Who you're going to sleep with. Then it's the sleepy time car ride, and Greg's taking them somewhere that his dad took him as a kid.
Yep.
They used to go hunting
with.
he says.
I put beautiful shot of car driving down the road with leaves on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's they do a lot with the cinematography in this movie. It's really cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
And I put, my next note was, dude, these fucking cinematic shots are fucking nice. Really makes my pecker hard.
oh yeah, bro. We're just sucking the score's dick. We're sucking the scenery's dick. And then I put that it looks like they're near a beach, and then I put probably one of the Great Lakes. Because it looks like a large body of water, but they're in Michigan. That's what it
And
happens.
Greg finds a gun.
Greg has a gun, is what I put.
Yeah, Greg went and got a gun and is teaching Jay how to shoot.
Right, and then this is when I put Greg and Jay have a history question mark.
I put target practice time with cereal boxes.
I wrote Greg's denim vest is pretty fire.
Because they're talking to each other too about, is this that early? I can't remember.
Well, this is whenever they talk. Because the only thing I wrote is that he has the cool denim vest.
Okay, because I think it's now where they talk about like how Greg's like, I didn't mean to leave things the way they were or whatever.
Yeah.
And like that's when you can kind of tell that they've hooked up before.
And then they just have like their little beach chill day where they're all just hanging out.
And Greg and Kelly smile at each other.
Yeah, Greg is a fuck boy. That's what
Yeah.
I wrote. Because he is. He's like literally trying to fuck.
Oh,
all
And I
three of
put
those
girls
But to
slowly
be-
walking in the background.
Yeah, I wrote a lady is walking up the trail, looks at their friend Yara.
But then I put, this is a great Yara reveal, because then it reveals that Yara's in the water.
Yeah, dude, it's so cool.
It's such a cool shot.
And then I wrote, oh shit, she's in the water. It's here. Oh my god, it's here.
Yeah, I put Yara invites everyone to the water.
Yeah, they refuse.
Yeah, and STD. I didn't know what to fucking call the thing. I put STD grabs Jay by the hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They
wrote-
lifts it up and they're like, oh, what the fuck?
I
Yeah.
wrote, bro, this scene is so cool because it grabs her hair and you see it from the friend's perspective so you can't see the monster.
Right. That's a really
Yeah.
good way to like shift the.
Yeah, it is. Because, like, this is the first time you see what it looks like to anyone else.
Yeah, and Paul
Paul hits it with a chair and gets fucking yeeted.
Yeah, I put
yoinked.
hits girl with a chair. Paul gets fucking yeeted.
Yeah, I put is sent flying.
Yeah.
And then,
It's funny too, because like, imagine if the entity wasn't real and he just fucking hits Jay. Like if this was just all in her head, or like she was just fucking with
Just
him.
fucking domes her with a beach chair.
And then they all
Oh,
go
shit.
they all go running into the little shed that the guns kept in.
Yeah.
I wrote basement because I wasn't really sure what it was.
Because
It looks like a little
while
building.
this is happening,
Yeah.
Greg was
Well, like I know whenever they first panned the house, I thought it was attached to the house. I thought it was the basement. My bad.
because before that happens, Greg goes to take a piss, so he's not with them.
Yeah, Greg had gone off to the side.
And she starts shooting at the entity, and then Greg like drops down. He's like, "Oh fuck, stop shooting!"
I know.
Yeah.
And then it gets a little closer, and then she's able to headshot it.
Yeah, well, I put in the neck, but it's the head or the neck.
I think she gets
Yeah.
the neck, then the head.
Maybe. You might be right. For
Yeah,
sure.
I just know Greg is fucking pissed.
Because I think she winks the neck, and like it stops for a second, but then it keeps going. And,
I
then she gets the headshot, and it falls down, but then it instantly gets right back
puts
up.
it down for like a second. She
Yeah.
misses it a lot first, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
why.
stormtroopers
That's when Greg's like, "Stop shooting! Don't shoot me!"
Yep.
I put Greg's low-key pissed. I put demon breaks hole into the bottom of the door.
Yeah, because that's why Greg's pissed. He's like, "Well,
Yeah.
who did this?" He's like, "I wouldn't fucking do it," because he still doesn't believe. He still.
Well, the
doesn't
thing is,
believe
like,
it's a
how would anybody have done that? Because nobody was even close to the door.
thing. Yeah.
And how do they pulled it out, like, from that way, being inside, like, the way it's ripped out?
Yeah.
Greg's just a dipshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I put Greg is big mad now.
Yeah.
And then, Jake...
And then he goes like around to the side trying to get to the other door.
And Jay crawls to the door, and then it's like a weird-looking little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put
Well,
creepy
because before that, I think it's the tall man again that walks like by the window for a second.
Yeah.
I put creepy dude pops up in door hole. Almost dropped my phone on that one. I was typing. I was like, what the fuck?
'Cause he starts screaming too. He's like, "Ah!"
And
Yeah.
then, and then it becomes a little girl.
Yeah.
It's a little girl walking after her. Again, I write, "Run, Jay, run!" And then she goes and steals the fucking car.
Yeah, Jay opens up the sliding door and just starts running.
Yeah. I put Jay drives away, and then as she's driving away, they're all chasing after her, and it's a cool shot of like seeing them run after her, but the entity's still walking,
It's just a walk.
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. And then she crashes.
I
They
wrote,
crashed into a cornfield.
stealing car, and then I wrote, breaking the law. Because it reminded me of last week's episode with mid-90s. His Beavis and Butthead shirt says, breaking
the law.
Yeah.
Breaking the law. Because it's them making fun of Judas Priest.
Yeah.
which I
And then she
like.
wakes up in the hospital with her mom and her
Yep.
sister.
Yeah, because she wrecks. Because while she's like pulling out, she's speeding, and a car comes to pull out,
Yeah.
and she crashes into a cornfield.
Yep.
And then she's in the hospital.
With she had a broke arm and a head injury.
Yeah, I wrote bandaged head and fucked up wrist. And then
That's,
I also wrote because like I just wanted to comment on it because I was thinking about like Cuckoo and shit. I wrote, so many movies have hospital scenes is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially horror movies.
It's such a
Yeah.
fucking like trope.
Yeah.
I put the crew and her mom are in the hospital in a room, and I put the different. Why'd I put 2 different hospital rooms? I don't remember why I put that.
I mean, it's like the panning shot. With those
Yeah.
different ones.
Yeah.
But I also wrote, why doesn't the entity just get her now? Because she can't go anywhere.
Exactly. Because even, like, how did it not get her after she crashes? Because, like,
It
she wasn't that far away.
I don't know if I wrote it, but I definitely thought it. I was just like, well, maybe the reason because it's technically an STD, so maybe it's afraid of the hospital. I don't know.
I don't think it's
enough.
afraid of anything.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, like I wanted that too. But I guess like with if the ambulance got there fast enough and how fast the ambulance is, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense that it would create like a lot of distance,
Yeah.
especially because I guess they would have taken her to an ambulance to the city close to where they live, like the hospital she was already in, you know, like I guess that's where it goes, so maybe it takes it back towards their house to cover up all that land.
Right.
But also that doesn't make sense because you'd think they'd just take her to the closest fucking hospital, but whatever, I'm definitely splitting hairs.
Yeah, I put Greg and Jay get freaky in the hospital room.
Well, I also wrote where she hears something and she sees just a nurse,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then I wrote Greg awakens, BRB gonna blow Jay's back out real quick in this hospital.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
Jay gives it to Greg, and then Greg goes to fuck another girl to pass it on.
Yeah, I wrote dude's gonna die, and then also while they're fucking, Jay does not seem into it.
Yeah.
She's like looking off to the side, like.
yeah, I'm just doing this to get rid of it.
And then I also
Because
I'll mention whenever we get to it, I have a note.
Because I also
Something
put
got
like
curious about.
the pants like the whole group in there. I was like, Paul looks hella mad.
Oh yeah, that's my next note. Is Paul still being a little bitch about Greg?
Yeah. I wrote cut to Greg being a player surrounded by other girls. Oh, here it is. Do you have to finish to have the entity transition to you, or is it
Yeah.
just like penetration?
Yeah, because
What is sex really?
I put it's
Yeah.
been
Is it
3
just
days.
penetration, or
I mean, I consider it like if I stick my.
or do you have to finish?
I don't think you have to finish for it to count as sex.
Because I finished. I was just quoting T-Pain.
Fair enough.
Because I put it's been 3 days and Greg still hasn't been followed. And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, does it have to be like passionate love making?
I was thinking too, like maybe the entity like takes a break in between people, like just long enough to maybe I don't know, like if they did what like you did and told them, like to maybe sow some distrust of like, nah, this thing's not real.
Maybe you can't tell them about it before you do the sex. You got to tell them afterward.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I also wrote Paul hates Greg because he wanted the entity to follow him instead.
Exactly.
I mean, 'cause-
Stupid.
I mean, STDs do come with rules, so maybe.
Yeah. And then like during the scene or during the time period where like Greg has it and it's supposed to be following him, Kelly Jay like is swimming and like I wrote, are you supposed to swim with a cast on?
That's literally in my notes. I have it later on in my notes, but I also put I put it at the very end when she's in that pool. But I was like, really, you getting cast because she does it in the pool too
She
later.
does it so much.
But I was
I
like,
think
bro,
you're
you're not
supposed
supposed
to
to
wrap
get you're not supposed to get your cast wet.
You're supposed to put it in a trash bag or something.
Yeah.
But then also I took a note, I guess like right after that swimming pool scene, because she's in their backyard pool at this point.
Yeah.
I wrote Kelly got dim socks on because she had them thigh highs on.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Dude, I was gonna mention that earlier because I was like, when Greg's checking her out on the beach, I'm like, she is looking like what's up, girl?
like respectfully.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
cause she's like sunbathing too, and I'm like, what's up, girl? I mean,
Yeah, dude.
shit, if I was Greg, I would have checked her out too. That's all I'm saying.
And then Greg doesn't think the entity is real, even though he saw the doorpost open on its own.
Yeah, cause he goes over to the house. He's like, oh, how's Jade doing? He's like, oh, she's just like locked up in her room.
Oh yeah, this.
And
is
then
when she got dim
Paul's
socks
like, have you like seen anything? He's like, nah, I don't know, it's cool. Cause I mean, they also talk to her. Greg says, I believe, cause it's in the hospital again. We're like, oh, have you been after he fucks the other girls allegedly? I mean, we assume that's what that scene's for.
on. Right.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, do you feel any different? And he's like, and she's like, you don't believe me, do you? He's like, I believe you, but I just don't think it's following me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's like another thing of like he doesn't believe it's fucking real.
But
But like,
after
you can tell he's a little standoffish too with Paul. It's like I don't fucking think
Yeah,
it's
because
real.
like Paul's trying to defend her, and Greg was having zero.
Yeah,
Paul's a
Paul-
little simp bitch.
Yeah, I
because
know.
Paul's like, well, she fucking it wasn't
She'd
for
make it
nothing.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's special, man.
he's fucking white knighting her like a
Yeah.
fucking.
How the fuck would you
simp.
know, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you know? You ain't got that stanky on your hang down.
Well, Paul did say, well, I didn't swing that chair at nothing.
Yeah, right. It
'cause-
fucking hit me, bro.
It didn't hit him. It fucking slung his ass.
Yeah, dude. He's got those little fucking scars.
Yeah.
But anyway, after that yard scene where Kelly's wearing dim socks,
Yeah.
it cuts to nighttime. Jay is chilling, just kind of like looking out the window, looking at Greg's house. And she sees him walking.
She's Greg. The way he's walking too. I was like, bro, he's like
and like,
strutting
why is
down
he
the
in
street.
long johns?
Yeah, and then
Like,
that's when I put Greg's coming for Greg.
yeah. And then he tries to like open the door and it won't open, so he just like casually strolls and grabs a brick and just.
Because I love shit
Throws
like
it.
this too. Because like the main thing of the movie is like to see the entity walking. So it's cool to see it do other things besides walking.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when it grabs the brick. Because I always wonder, like, could I just get it in front of a fence and be fine? But like no, it's like it gets creative with what it can do.
I wonder what it would do with like a really big fence.
Yeah.
Would it just try to go around it? I guess it would.
Can't go through it.
Yep.
Gotta go around it.
And that's like, why would if you like went and got like on like the middle of an island? Like, what would happen then? Can it walk on the ocean floor? Because it's an entity, it's a demon. It probably doesn't need to like breathe.
But anyway, so he goes in there and Jay's like, "Oh, Greg, guys, coming for you."
And then she tries to call him, but he doesn't answer. So she runs across the street.
Tries the door the same way he did. I'm like,
what
get in the
fuck are
fucking
you
window,
thinking?
stupid.
Just go in the
She's
window.
probably been able to save him.
Well, in Detroit, if she went through the window, they're probably gonna like, oh, she fucking broke in here.
Yeah, that's
Well, she
right.
Can't
breaks
have-
in anyway.
Can't have shit in Detroit.
And
She goes
then,
up the stairs and there's banging on the door, and then when
Yeah.
she gets up there, it's Greg's mom.
Calls her his mom.
And she says, "Greg, don't open the door."
Also, let me just sidebar real fast. This is the fourth boob of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also find it weird though too that like it stops knocking, looks at Jay, and then turns back and starts knocking again. I was like, it was just very interesting that it stopped going after
Well-
Greg for a second to like look
Well,
at
technically,
her.
Greg has it now, so it's gonna kill him, and then it's like,
Well, I just find it interesting like it
Yeah.
stopped.
Yeah,
for
I guess
a
like
second.
it acknowledges her because it knows.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
hey, after I do this, you better run.
it's trying to build Goldberg. Like, hey, you're next.
You're next.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but Greg literally gets the life fucked out of him by a bitch with one titty out.
I
I put Greg's mom fucks Greg.
it fucks him to death looking like his mom. Bro, what the fuck is this?
Like, what kind of metaphor is this?
It went from Detroit to Alabama real quick.
And then she like runs out,
So now it's back to Jay.
and it's immediately chasing after Jay again as Greg in the
Yeah.
long johns.
Because my quote was, Miss Greg ripped, but not really. Greg was an ass.
Greg was-
I wrote, I'd lead it to quicksand, trap it in there forever.
Yeah.
You know, like or like
Quicksand.
like quicksand or cement.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what if you got it into wet cement and it dried? Like a long thing of cement? Like, I know that that's like so fucking happenstance. Like, what are the odds it's gonna happen? But still, you can set up a trap to trap this thing.
But would it just turn into a different thing to come after you?
But how would it get out?
Well, because like,
Well, if it's got people feet and it gets caught in fucking cement, but then turns into a dog when the cement hardens, then it.
because like at the
Slide its feet out.
Yeah.
But can it turn into animals?
well, because like the
Good question.
when it's at the
You
when
turn into
they're
a baby.
before she crashes the car into a cornfield, it turns into like 3 different people.
That's true. Maybe it could turn into something with smaller feet to get its feet unstuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. But what if you like...
Hopefully we get some of this in the sequel. Though, like
What if
people
you,
try to
like-
stop it?
Okay, hear me out. What if, like, you know, like storage containers, like the big metal ones?
Yeah.
That have, like, the barn doors on both sides.
Yeah.
What if, like, you walk
Kind
it
of how like
into...
Walmart sets up for
Like Connexes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But imagine it has
Black
barn doors
Friday.
on both sides.
yeah.
So you walk into one side, it follows you. You have 2 of your homies close it on that side. You come out the other side, close that side. You're telling me, like, how's it going to get out of that?
Drop it at the bottom of the ocean.
And you drop it at the bottom of the ocean. And then it's over for that thing. Like, it's just going to be stuck there for until somebody finds it. And then you're
I mean,
probably gonna be dead
technically,
anyway.
technically, it wouldn't drown unless there's holes in it. So.
Well, no, it wouldn't drown anyway. It would
Yeah.
just be at the bottom of the ocean in a
Yeah.
locked up storage container.
Yeah.
Maybe
you-
after the storage container, lock it with a bunch of chains too, just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how does it get out of that?
It doesn't.
You just solved
It will no longer follow.
The sequel, it no longer follows.
It doesn't follow.
But
Anyway.
So Jay goes to...
She gets in the car, drives for like I guess an undetermined amount of time till daybreak. I guess.
Yeah, she goes like to the park and like falls asleep.
Yeah.
No, she's like I think she's like in the woods somewhere.
Yeah, because my note says hides in the woods and falls asleep on the hood of her car.
I just wrote it to the park because there's like a bridge.
Yeah.
Not a great place to fall asleep.
No.
Like maybe on the inside of your car.
But
Yeah.
also she's close to the water again, so she definitely drove pretty far. Because the next morning she wakes up and walks out to the beach, and then she sees that boat with the bros on it.
Yeah, she starts getting naked and gets in the water.
Takes off
And
her
I put
clothes.
in my note, Jay sleeps with boat boys? ?
Yeah.
Guess movie wants to keep it up to audience interpretation.
I wrote,
Yeah.
"Fuck me, this score is cool." Does she go bang all the dudes on the boat? Like,
But like, part of me kind of thinks she
Well, hey.
probably did, just because like it leaves her alone for a bit. But I don't know.
it's
like,
not that long.
she at least probably maybe fucked one of them. I don't know.
Well, because wait, if you gangbang somebody, like if you're in a
Who does
gangbang,
it follow all 3 of them?
who does it follow?
Well, like Yeah, that's a good question.
Maybe it's in
Maybe
order
it's-
of dicks.
It must be
Yeah.
penetration rules.
Yeah.
But it's like whoever penetrated first,
Now-
it follows them.
Yeah, but no,
But
you-
does it count on
it
the
was
other?
whoever penetrates lasted.
Now, what
followed.
kind of sex do you have to have for it to be passed on? Could you get it from a blowjob, or can you get it from anal, or is it just pure vaginal or dick? You know what I mean?
That's a good point too,
Do
buddy.
hand jobs count?
Now, what if the
I don't
dude,
think hand jobs count.
now, like, what if the dude that had, like, you're a dude and you have it and you have to pass it on? If you get fucked in the butt, is it gonna pass on that way, or
Well,
do you have
that's
to stick
true,
your dick in
too.
somebody?
That's true too.
Is he gay? Can I have just gay sex count?
Yeah, like,
It probably does.
give me some rules, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe, or is that a different entity like AIDS?
This thing should be like the thing from Beetlejuice. It comes with a fucking book, bro. Like the Book of the Dead, or like.
The book of the sexually transmitted demon.
Yeah, yeah. Like, how do I handle this? What kind of sex do I have to get rid of this thing?
Anyway, after she goes out to the boat, it cuts to her in the car.
If you
driving.
finger bang her, do you get it then?
I don't know, man. I don't know. We're past it. I'm not either. Like, I'm gonna think about it, but
Yeah.
let's go. Like, her cast is fucked up.
Because she's
But anyway,
getting
she
in
gets,
water
she,
and
she
not
gets back
wrapping
to the
it.
house and she's like sleeping.
Yeah, because there's a scene where they're all sleeping, and I had to point this out. There's a sandwich on a table.
That happens like twice or three
And the
times.
fucking,
Dude.
like, this time I noticed it because, like, the bread looks moldy.
Might be the same sandwich from the other day though.
Maybe. Because it's like, there's like a blue spot in, like, the middle of the bread.
Yeah.
It's like, that's mold, bro.
Yeah,
Why
don't
y'all
eat
just
that.
leaving that just sitting there?
Also, did you guys notice that the pool's fucking broken?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh.
I think that's also supposed to be like a loss of innocence type thing.
And then I just write, Paul just wants some fuck, bro. Because this is whenever they
Yeah.
start talking.
He says, why'd you pick Greg?
And then
Like,
I
I could have done that too, and then I put Paul little fucker part
Yeah,
3.
Paul's just trying to get his fucking weenie wet.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, I have a little James McDowell tangent. I'm not going to start screaming. But I wrote, she picked Greg because she fucking wanted to, Paul. They had already fucked before, so it was easy. Don't be a little simp about it, bro. It's going to cause you more pain and turmoil than it's worth. Trust me.
They already fucked before because it's easy, and he can pass it on more than you can because you ain't get no bitches on
And
your
then I wrote,
dick.
she doesn't want you, bro.
Maybe if you
Don't-
get rid of that yee-ass haircut.
She doesn't want you, bro. Don't help her. It isn't worth it. Go find yourself a nice girl, man.
I
This is
put...
the part too where I was when he's like, "Oh, I could have done that too. I could have helped you." I'm like, "Bro, why do you want this demon
Why do you
so
want
goddamn
this demon
bad?"
so bad? You want Jay so bad that you're willing to have a fucking demon?
Because
follow
if I know
you?
that
You're
demon
like,
exists,
you're fucking
because clearly
stupid.
he's like the one who like trusts that it's real the most. I'm like, bro, if you trust it's real that much, why do you want to fuck this girl that much?
I put...
Go get yourself a nice girl who's
I
not
put-
promiscuous.
Exactly.
I put...
And nothing against promiscuity, of
Right.
course.
But if they have a sexual transmitted demon and you know that, maybe find a different girl to fuck. Fuck the sister.
Yeah.
I put, dude at least tried to shoot his shot, even with that major baggage. I put, Weezer said, can't knock the hustle.
Shoot or shoot.
If he was smart, he wouldn't want that baggage.
Yo, yeah, no, God, no.
And then they...
Definitely don't want it, but like, motherfucker Paul's simp ass. He's
Paul,
like,
Paul says, "Hold my beer."
yeah, because we know he ain't gonna get fucking laid, so it's just
No.
gonna kill him, then it's gonna
He
kill
ain't getting
her.
enough stanky on his hang down.
Nope.
He probably barely gets his hand on his own hang down.
And then they start, like, deciphering their plan.
Yeah, because he's like, "Oh, do you trust me?
And then they're like, we're going to go to the pool.
Where do we have our first kiss?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they decide to go to the community pool.
We
and
have
they
a plan.
mention that Paul used to pee in the pool. So then they all get in the car to start going to the pool, and there's a
naked man on the roof.
There's a
But how did he even get up?
naked man on her house is the it that is following her. And then I wrote, this thing likes to be naked. Because it's
Yeah.
naked a lot, bro.
Yeah.
I'm talking 4 boobs and a dick. Even though this dude has a shitload of pubes, so you can't see his cock.
Major Bush.
Major
I
boob.
don't know why I said it like that. I'm sorry.
And then they park kind of far away from where they're going, and this is when Yara, while they're walking, talks about how
Yeah.
how when she was a kid, her parents wouldn't let her go south of 8 Mile.
Yep.
Yeah, I put creepy ass abandoned neighborhood must be Detroit. And I was like, Yara monologues about 8 Mile sucks. I put not the movie, and I put and how sketchy it is.
Yeah, I put don't go past 8 Mile. This is in Detroit. Shouts out Eminem.
They talk about how when they were kids, they didn't really know what that meant to not go that far,
She's talking about like how she even had to like ask permission to go like
just to go like
to like the fair or
Yeah.
something, even though it's like literally like right there.
right.
Because like she just didn't understand. But then they go to the pool, like they go to the community center, I guess is what it would be, and they start setting up a trap for the entity.
Yeah.
And then I put, looks like they're gonna try and electrocute the thing.
Because they're putting up all these electronics, and I just put in my notes: Are these their own like personal household appliances? And if so, do they not want those back?
Yeah, I wrote they stuck a shitload of household appliances in this motherfucker.
Yeah.
They got like,
Like,
where do they keep all this shit?
The
How'd they carry it
abandoned,
all?
the
One of them was a
abandoned,
fucking typewriter.
Yeah.
the abandoned building they went into, was it like a school or was it like a YMCA?
That's what I was thinking, like
Yeah.
a community center kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like,
I don't think it was abandoned. I think it was still.
I think it was just closed.
Yeah, I think it was close in like in a bad part of town where like
Yeah.
the rest of it looked like shit, but the pool was still maintained.
Cause like,
Yeah.
'cause like sometimes with abandoned places, they just leave the pool water there.
Yeah. But like this pool water looked too good to.
The
Yeah,
pool looked
that's true.
clean, you know, because
Yeah.
like I thought about, because I was thinking about that too, like maybe it is abandoned, but then I thought about like Jennifer's Body, which I know we didn't talk about that, but in that movie they also use a pool,
Yeah.
and you know, like that pool's like gross because it
Yeah.
is like an abandoned place.
Yep.
So I assume that it would have
Might be the
more
same
like that.
pool too.
Might be.
Or from where they actually like, shot it.
Yeah, it actually might be. I also wrote no diving because there's like a cool shot where it shows
Yeah.
them all like sitting there,
Yeah.
like waiting for it, and the sign says no diving. I thought it was a cool little shot ski.
And this is where I put she just let her casket wet again. I didn't
Yeah.
realize she did it earlier, but I was like, oh.
I put electrical pool water trap.
This girl swims a lot.
And I put Jay goes for a swim.
We all just comment on her swimming so much.
Yeah.
That's a lot of this movie, though,
Yeah.
man. She's in the pool a lot.
I can't remember which one says it, but one of them was like, he's just standing there, and I put, he's just standing there, menacingly.
I also have that note. I put it's just standing there menacingly.
Because I put menacingly in all caps.
Oh, dude, I also wrote, it's just standing there. Because, like, it comes in and she starts freaking out.
Yeah, and then Kelly says, "Who is it?" And then she says, "I don't want to tell you."
Yeah.
And that's important for a shot we get a little later. We find out who it is.
Yeah, because it starts throwing the appliances at her while she's in the
And
water.
I put back in my notes again. I put it's not dumb. It knows what you're doing.
I just
You know,
wrote, I don't
stupid.
know why she said she didn't want to say what it looked like. It just looks like some dude to me. But then later you find out
Yeah.
who the dude is. But
And why she doesn't want to tell Kelly.
I was like, what the fuck? It's just some guy.
Yeah.
But it starts throwing, like, it throws the chair at her, it throws all this shit at her, and
Yeah,
it's
the
like
lamp.
kind of fucking her up.
Mm-hmm.
And then Paul starts shooting the gun.
He
Just
shoots Yara
Fucking
right in the
shoots
leg.
Yara.
shoots Yara.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then he shoots the entity.
And then they throw a blanket over
Yeah, Kelly throws it.
Kelly.
Well, he pops it one other time,
yeah.
remember?
Well, like, it
And
doesn't do anything. But,
and
then,
then
but
they-
then she gets it over the head to where he can get a headshot. And then he gets the headshot and it falls in the pool.
And Paul shoots it in the head, stunning it, but it grabs Jay while she's underwater, so she
Yeah.
can't get out of the water, but Paul's able to shoot it again in the head.
Those shots were close, though. Like, one
Dude.
wrong move, he would have fucking popped her, dude.
For sure, man.
How the fuck did she not get electrocuted when he kept throwing shit?
Well,
in the
they
pool?
would unplug before it hit the
Okay.
water.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, the only
Okay.
thing I can think of is that it was unplugging.
Yeah.
Because he was throwing them at her.
Yeah,
and
I don't think he was trying to electrocute her. Otherwise, it would have just dropped it in there. He was trying to
Yeah.
like fuck it up.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because I don't think he wants to kill it because he wants to fuck it to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like he's probably trying to fuck her up.
Can't fuck it in the water. Well, you can have pool sex.
Have you?
Yes.
How was it?
It wasn't bad.
Cool.
This is extra wet.
I like that. And then he gets one more headshot that falls in the water.
I like this part a lot too.
Yeah.
I said, hell yeah, Paul finally gets to be the hero, and then
Jay gets out of the water.
Yeah.
Jay gets out of
And
the
then
water.
I put blood/red fog because I couldn't really tell what was what.
Yeah. And
Well,
then,
I
this
couldn't
is-
tell if it's
this
either
is cool
or.
too because he looks into the pool and he's like, I don't see anything. Jay like crawls over and looks in, and that's when you see all the red,
Yeah.
like the red fog, the red blood,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Whenever that was happening, the first thing that came to my head was Chevelle's The Red.
yeah. But I think that's cool because he couldn't see anything, obviously, because even though like it's bleeding out everywhere, she's gonna see it because
Yeah.
she saw the entity and he couldn't see the entity.
Yeah.
Right.
And my next note is Jay gives up that stanky on Paul's hang down.
I wrote bloody, blood, that's bloody, and then I said put cut to her fucking Paul. Like,
And I put
If it's still alive, it's now passing on to Paul because they fuck.
they fuck.
I put Paul finally gets laid. Hope it was all worth it, buddy.
Yeah.
But then
now you
I
got an
also,
STD.
I still was on like the who the fuck was that dude supposed to be?
Oh,
So I wrote, I wonder if the entity was supposed to be one of those dudes she slept with on the boat. And then I wrote, oh, it was her dad.
And I guess either like maybe it was a bad situation. He was abusive and he didn't want her to like be like, oh, that's it looks like dad, or maybe just the dad died tragically. He
That's
didn't
what I was
want to
thinking,
remind
like,
her of it. It's one
maybe
of the two.
because like dad's dead, and that's why mom's like a drunk.
Yeah.
You know, like a single mom who's like
Yeah.
fucking down on her shit. She's got these two kids that are kind of shitty.
Yep.
Like one of them's like a druggie, and the other one's a fucking
Works at an ice cream shop.
yeah.
because after Jay and Paul make the sex, I put, because Paul goes, do you feel any different? I put, do you feel any different is not a good line to say after smashing private parts.
dude.
Was it too big? reminds me of another thing from Jennifer's Body.
Yeah.
Is it too big?
Am I too big? And he grins, bro. He's like,
And I put, Paul sleeping while Yara monologues again.
And then
When there, I wrote it down too because it kind of like goes with the thing. It says when there is torture, there is pain and wounds, physical agony, and all this distracts the minds from mental suffering, so that one is tormented only by the wounds until the moment of death. With the most terrible agony, many not believe in the wounds themselves, but in the knowing for certain that within an hour, within 10 minutes, within half a minute, now in this very instant, your soul will leave your body, and you will no longer be a person, and that is certain. The worst thing is that it is certain.
Did you copy and paste that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I
I did not get that word from
Okay, I was gonna say, do you know how many times you would take you to like pause and fucking play?
Well, like,
To
to
type
be
all
fair,
that
like, I
out.
really like Dostoevsky because he's basically talking about like the suffering of like
Yeah.
how suffering is always eternal. Like, and he talks about like the death.
also, I think while she's doing that monologue, that's whenever it like shows Paul like going and hunting for a prostitute.
Yeah, which is weird because I was wondering, I was like, so did he do it or not? Because he like kind of drives by them.
Yeah, he
so I was
does.
wondering if he did or not.
And then,
But I like that because it also shows that like he's also not a good guy either. Like he's okay with just being like, well, I guess I gotta go get a prostitute to pass this thing on.
There you go. Get rid of it with a prostitute.
well, that's a good idea though. That's like a
But I
good
think
way
the
to
whole
get
point of
rid
that, the whole point of the ending though too, when they're holding hands is like they're gonna like fight this entity demon together,
Because-
like where they're like forced to do it, to where like it's not love keeping them together, it's just their survival keeping them together.
'Cause, like, if you pass-
because maybe they can keep passing it amongst each other and then
Yeah.
pass it on to someone else, and then when it comes back to them, they can pass it off again.
Yeah, for sure.
Like almost like the buck stops with them, where like they can pass it on to other people.
Because if you pass it on to a prostitute, and if a prostitute dies, Archer taught me that's just a dead hooker. No one's gonna care.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's like
Well, like-
episode 1 of Archer. I'm pretty
You
sure.
know, a lot
yeah.
of times, like, like that prostitute's gonna fuck you, and then she's gonna immediately go fuck somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna get boom, boom. So you'll have two.
And I guess with the whole it's certain thing too, it's like I guess like it's like the whole thing of like it's certain that like this thing's never gonna stop hunting for you, and like suffering is inevitable basically.
But the movie ends.
So that's why I like the quote so much.
Yeah, because Paul and Jay are holding hands while walking down the street,
And then, like,
there's
in
a
the
dude in the
background,
background.
like-
somebody's walking behind.
Yeah, and like is it the entity? Is it
Yeah.
not? It's
And then
up
I
to
put-
your interpretation.
I put into movie title card.
Yep.
Yeah, I put It Follows.
It Follows.
And then, yeah, that's the fucking movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And boy, is it something. It's good. It's
It's a
so
good
good.
fucking movie.
Now, Dylan, you've never seen it before, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad you watched it.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of had to.
Fair enough.
Right. But you don't hate that you did.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
But it was just a weird thing. Said glad you watched it. I kind of had no other choice but
I'm
to
just
watch
saying,
it.
bro. I'm glad you watched it. Well, like I said, man, it was like a movie that I would show
To be
people.
fair, I said I was glad
Yeah.
I was glad you guys watched mid '90s, and I
Yeah.
said that. So I mean, I get it.
Yeah, bro. Let me be happy about things, Dylan.
Yeah, well,
Let people enjoy things.
Let people enjoy things.
okay. I have a meme somewhere where it says "Let people enjoy things," and it said that's what people with bad taste says.
That's also true.
I think Grocer sent it to me.
So, you wanna rate first?
Yeah, sure, why not? It's a 10. This is like one of my favorite This is one of my favorite modern horror movies. It's really good. It's a good movie. I like it a lot.
I could watch it again right now. Again, and be like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, I love this movie.
I definitely would, but like I wouldn't do it now that I've watched it again. I think this is like the second time this is my second time in like a year because I just watched it again recently, like last year.
Really?
So, or either last year or the year before. Time's screwy. Like,
I
I know I
understand.
watched it when we lived together still. So, like, it was still pretty recent. So, like, I probably won't watch it again for a while. But, like, I definitely do. Like, it's definitely one of those ones that, like, if your friend hasn't seen it, you throw it on for him.
For
like,
sure.
Like you did for me. Because I was like, it's a good fucking movie.
It's a good fucking movie.
And, like, if it's in someone's blind spot of horror movies that, like, likes horror movies, they'd be like, bro, you gotta see this.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's exactly how I was with you. Like, I was like, oh,
Exactly.
shit, dude, you
Wait,
gotta see that one.
So
Yeah.
you had it and you passed it on.
Yeah.
It follows.
It follows.
Sorry. I,
Do you see that girl over there?
Oh my god, I see that girl. I see that girl over there. Why is it sleeping? I also give it a 10. I agree with you. It's one of my favorite horror movies as well. It's my favorite of like because I consider it like kind of the beginning of like the newer generation of horror movies where it's like
Was the Babadook before this or after this?
I think it was probably before.
Alright.
But this is like one of the newer
One-
ones.
one of the
Or
ones that-
older ones. Like
yeah.
one of the ones that started it. Because it's like highbrow horror almost, you know?
Yeah.
And I really enjoy some of those. The ones I really like. And this
Right,
is
like
the one
this
I probably
and, this
like
and
the
Hereditary are
most.
my two big ones.
I like Hereditary
Like,
too.
I fucking love Hereditary.
I don't really care for Midsommar, but that is
I've still never seen it, even though I
haven't
own
seen
I
it.
own it on Blu-ray and I've still never seen it.
that is a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
the way this movie is shot, I'm surprised it's not an A24 movie, but I don't think they existed yet.
Yeah.
But it's very A24-esque.
For sure.
For sure. It's like the beginning of the artsy fartsy horror movie.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, for
It
lack
was like
of a better
2014, or I mean, when it premiered at the film festival, but like it's definitely one of the earliest.
term. All right, Dylan, what about you, man? What's your rating?
Well, I don't want to be a damper on the Tim Parade, but since I don't have the experience of watching it more than once,
Right.
my initial rating, like I said last week with mid 90s, I always have like an initial what I rated it when I watched it. I originally gave it an 8, but I didn't remember the +1 note I had. Whenever
I like
wrote
that you're sticking
down.
to it. That's good.
So with the +1, I give it a 9.
Fuck
but
yeah.
I don't know the next time I'll rewatch it. I'm really bad about saying I'm going to rewatch it, then I just never.
But if you
do.
ever do, like, I'm sure you'll pick up on some more stuff you didn't pick up.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies where, like, you'd be like, oh shit, I never noticed that.
Yeah. I definitely agree.
With how
Like,
our schedule is, I don't think I'm gonna
Yeah.
rewatch it anytime soon or have
Right.
time to.
Honestly, most of the
Anytime
movies
soon.
I like watch in my free time now are just
Yeah.
background noise.
Yeah.
Like, same. As far as I thought the new ones were going.
Yeah, like
same.
I don't know if I want a horror movie as a background noise.
Right.
If I'm being 100.
Oh,
I
I
get
do
it.
that shit all the time.
Yeah.
Same.
But I'm a big horror guy.
Especially with, like,
Yeah.
It Follows. It Follows is like a
Yeah.
It's the time of the, like, it's like the vibe of the movie, kind of like Cuckoo, where like I like the vibe a lot. Where,
Yeah.
like I can throw it on in the background and just have it as background noise.
Yeah, me too.
But cause like when I say, like, you probably catch some stuff, like I never really realized that Jay and Greg had a history
Yeah.
Me neither.
like that until like I was like oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in my mind, this is like one of those movies you want to pay attention to. That's why I wouldn't choose this one to put in the
That's fair,
background.
for sure.
Because it's like
Also-
one of those ones you kind of want to watch.
I think this is the first time I really put it together that was her dad.
Yeah.
Which
Really?
is crazy because
Yeah.
like that's like such an obvious one that they did. Yeah, do you guys have any more thoughts on it?
No.
You want to go ahead and plug our socials, big dog?
Yeah, bro.
I think we've used it.
I will say, like, if I'm gonna throw a movie on in the background, I'm gonna throw a movie I've seen like 100 times that I don't have to pay like any attention
Right.
to.
Like The Longest Yard?
Yeah, like The Longest
Yeah.
Yard, Napoleon Dynamite, something goofy.
Super bad for me.
Yeah.
One of
yeah.
Superbad, Tropic Thunder.
Yeah,
That's
for
one
sure.
for me.
Tropic Thunder used to be my drunk movie.
Scott
Where-
Pilgrim for
where I'd
me.
sober
Yeah,
up and
Scott
watch
Pilgrim.
Scott. That's how I did Scott Pilgrim. I watched Scott Pilgrim when I was drunk.
it. Weird thing. Sober me, not a big fan of Nacho Libre. Drunk me, fucking loved it for a time.
Do we want to get drunk, watch Nacho Libre together, and then not film the podcast drunk, but like, do you want to maybe like we try and like take notes while we're fucking drunk watching Nacho Libre?
I don't hate the idea of
Yeah.
drunk notes.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
don't want to record while
I don't
we're
either.
inebriated.
Definitely
Yeah.
not.
All right. Well, you know.
And then we could do it again later after that, sober, and see if
Yeah.
see if sober notes and drunk notes, see what the differences are.
Well, this movie's been juiced and rated. New episodes of the Movie Juice podcast drop every Thursday morning. You can follow us on Facebook at Movie Juice. Instagram is at Movie Juice Pod. Twitter's at Movie Juice Pod. We have a website, moviejuicepod.com. It's still in the coming soon phase. You can. If you have a suggestion, drop it in the comments, or you can email us. One of us will write back. Email us at moviejuicepod@gmail.com. All of our links can be found on our LinkedIn, which that link is on all of our social media platforms as well. We are on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube. And you can all follow us individually on Instagram and Twitter. Our handles are in the description. And we will be back next week with Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse for our Scare Slam.
Scare Slam.
Week 2.
Scare Slam.
Scare Slam.
Ooh, yeah.
And as always,
It's not bad.
and as always, I've been Dylan.
I've been Kyle.
I've been James, and for one last time, this has been The Juice.
Sales decision.